gotten a couple of requests for a better sort of tutorial on how this pantograph works. I may be building a batch of them here soon. I've had 4 fairly serious requests from people saying, hey, could you make one for me? They're not that difficult to build, but I understand, you don't want to have to figure it out for yourself again. So here's a little more in-depth than that last video that I did about how this functions. It works really well. This time I'm going to be doing a little Saturn inlay into a fretboard, similar to the one that I did last summer by hand. Like I said, I'll be doing a Saturn inlay here. I just got this image off the internet, and I printed it out at twice the size that I wanted my inlay to be. The planet of Saturn there is going to be about a ½ inch diameter, so I printed this out so that this drawing is at a 1 inch diameter. I then went and cut out with a 1 inch hole saw a piece of corian. I like corian because it doesn't gum up the blades too bad and it's nice solid material. I used a 1 inch hole saw to get a nice round cut. I then placed this image over the top of it, and out of another piece of corian, didn't have to be a different color, but it kind of helped out here, I cut the ring. And these all fit together nice and neat. Again, at a 2-to-1 ratio, my hands and my eyes work on this a whole lot easier, and I don't have to hold on to little tiny pieces. I then assembled that puzzle, if you will, and dropped it down into a piece of 1/4 inch plexiglass. Now I drilled a 1 inch diameter hole in the plexiglass that was nice and tight fit for this, and then all I had to do was trace around the ring and make sure I had an opening that was larger than that. I then secured everything down to the table. I put 2 small wire pins in each one of the rather delicate little empty spaces that are on either side of the ring there, just to hold these in place. And then I backfilled it after having put some form release on the corian. I backfilled it with, in this case I used a Bondo material around the outside, but that failed on me on these 2 little pieces inside. They just kind of crumbled on me. So I used a 2-part epoxy putty for that. So now I've got my 2-to-1 negative and positive forms here. I'm going to start off, I'm going to do a fretboard here today. At the 12th fret I'm going to do this inlay. Let me see if I can, oops, got to go the other way. Zoom in on, there we go, this pin. The pin itself has been ground to a 1/16 diameter, and it will travel around inside this form. Now, let's see here. In that, on the other side here, I have my Fordham tool, and that Fordham tool has a 1/32 inch bit. It's just a simple straight carbide bit, 1/32, 2 flute. I didn't think the 4 flute was going to be necessary, and I'm going to be using that same bit for cutting both the negative and the positive images here. A little bit better image of that bit. The piece of tape on there is basically a fan. It'll help clean and clear out the cut as I'm making it. I made sure when I bought this bit to get one that had a fairly short cutting length to it. The longer ones will deflect, and they can break off easily too. Setting the depth is simply a matter of sliding a piece of the intended material under each side of the pantograph here, setting it down on the table, then loosening the bit, tool, and dropping it down until it just sits on top of the material to be cut.